Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Little White Pill. Don't make it awkward now.
I was trying to actually continue from there and like make it okay. Anyway, hi guys. Yeah, I did. It was very intense.
You must be sexy in the eyes.
Okay.
Sexy in the eyes.
So yeah, hey everyone.
Today we don't have a question.
We don't have a question.
No.
No, I gave you suggestions.
No, but no.
Okay, it's fine.
Ooh, would you adopt a child of a different race than you?
Adoption. I have issues with adoption.
Huh?
Because you could adopt a crazy. And you wouldn't know until it's too late. And because it's not yours, you might dispose of the child.
How, Sway?
Like, hey, wahafa, hey, whoo, I can't even send them back.
But like, isn't it in African traditions and like the children need their parents to do certain rituals and stuff?
When they're born
African
and
cultures,
things.
yes. I think
Wait.
that
Yeah,
might be
for the
common.
ancestors to acknowledge them, accept them into their tribe, I suppose, and then to protect them
I think that's
throughout
the
their
reason
lives.
why some kids act like that. I think.
We don't do that in my culture.
It's okay.
You just cut out and live. It's fine.
And that's okay. That's okay too. You asked a child of a different race. I've always wondered what it would
No,
be like
adoption in jail. He asked adoption.
adopting a child
Oh, of a different race.
Oh,
Sorry.
of a different race. Yeah, how?
Matanga.
Why don't
Just
you
because
listen?
Benda people are a different race.
Ooh, okay. So to answer your question,
Yes.
I have always thought about adopting a white child.
Why
How
white?
fun it
I
would be
don't-
like.
I don't
No,
know
not
racism.
not because it's white, but just a white kid.
It.
It could be a he or she, baby.
No, it's an it.
The baby.
It doesn't have an identity.
Joe, why are we getting into the ethics of
Why
this
do they
now?
call it it?
It's not
Because
a
it's
corporation.
Because it could be
Is
a
it male?
boy
Is it
or a
female?
Are
girl.
you it?
I'm male, so I'm he.
Yes. Nikita.
I'm
Is this
male.
Don't be
because-
offended on.
No, is this? I'm
Don't
not
be
offended.
offended
I
on
wonder
behalf
why
of a
people-
hypothetical
I wonder
child,
why
bruh.
people call it it.
Because she doesn't know if she wants a guy or a girl.
Is this a child that's already born or a child that's coming?
It's
Either way.
a human being whose identity you do not know can be it.
Or is in the thought process of adopting? Would I
Yes.
adopt a
Yes.
different-
A human.
See, you
Any
might
human
phrase
being.
things. Don't get touched because I don't understand your
You're
question.
expensive, you know.
Okay,
Right.
moving on to the actual topic, which is really grim
Explain
today.
shit. God. Okay, so
See, that's voice.
okay, so there was a picture that was circulating on Facebook. I think everybody in the room has seen it, right? Have you seen it? Okay, do me please.
Okay,
show it.
let me find the picture.
Basically, this picture is on statistics that were thumbsucked. Okay, let me not give my opinion. These are pictures of statistics of people who were killed during various times in South African history, right? And basically, it shows how the current South African government is basically worsening life in general.
I just saw this picture, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this now, but this is the stupidest thing ever,
Okay.
right? Because during the time of the Anglo-Zulu War, né, in the entire world, there were less than 1 billion people. Significantly less, probably 100 million people at the most in the whole world, right? Statistically, if you're looking at it like this, right, there are more people being born in a year now than there were people at some stage in our history. If you look at the people who died at that time versus the people who are dying now, and you say this is a fair comparison of how good life is, then you're stupid. And it's the dumbest thing you could ever do. Because if there are only 10 people in the world and one person dies a week, it's not a lot better than if there are 1 billion people and one person dies every minute. It's not terrible. Like statistically, that's, if you look at the percentages, then it's not bad. Why don't they use percentages to show this stat? Because it's not going to be much different.
Even then, it's not, the English is running away. Then the ANC era, so the picture says, is those numbers, we don't know what was counted then.
Yes.
And for the other eras, we don't know what was counted then.
Yes.
So we can't even corroborate out their story.
The statistics are so poor that they're using. It's kind of like the statistic of 50% of marriages end in divorce. The average of all marriages, yes. But if you take into account the fact that 80% of marriages between people who met and married only after both got a college degree or college education, university education, right? It's 80%. They stay together. That only 20% get divorced. You know, it depends on your circumstances. It's like using statistics to tell a story, even though the story is not true, only because you used part of the statistics or used the statistics wrong.
Okay.
That is the only way, you know, anyone could come to the conclusion that life was better during the apartheid times. Because if you look at that picture, then life was so much better during the Anglo-Boer times. So let's get rid of our cars, technology, all those things, and let's go back to curing a bullet wound with hot oil. Let's do that, you know? Because life was so much better then, fewer people died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies? No? No? You done stole the show. That's good. You might as well just stop right now.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking. Okay, so we posted the picture online, so like you guys could just take a look through the timeline, whatever. But yeah, basically the question is life that much better post-apartheid? Now we're going to look at it from different aspects of life, right? So the first thing we're going to touch on is education. Can we say that 1994 to now and moving forward, that the standard of education is better than apartheid?
See, now, I had an answer in my mind, but then you changed the question.
I changed the question.
You
Okay,
said you said the standard.
It could be, well, I mean, isn't that pretty much the same thing? Either way I ask it, it could be, has education improved since, or has the standard of education improved since?
If you say has education improved since, I want to say it might not have, but it has for demographic.
Okay.
So the overall thing might be the same, but for a section, it's coming up.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the syllabus, the basic education syllabus change, I think, well, while I was in school, it had changed twice. And in the changing now, it's already changed again. Now these kids are doing, I think it's the CAPS syllabus, where now a lot of the stuff that we do in first year, irrespective of what course you've chosen, they do in at matric level.
How?
Yeah, so basically, what my brother did in physics, like both physics and chemistry, I did when I did 117 and 131.
How?
So essentially, these guys are somewhat prepared for their first year in university. But then at the same time, you ask yourself now, you know, does it really help that they're preparing them from the get? Do you think that compared to, you know, our parents who learned in Afrikaans, dude, like almost everything that they learned was in Afrikaans, until the point where they felt like Afrikaans was just a little too much? Like, how guys, you staring at me?
No,
Has,
you mid-sentence.
no, has education changed? Or, well, if it has changed, has it changed for the better, is my question. What do we think?
No, but I don't know, because okay. Because we
From
didn't-
what you know, babe, from what you know about apartheid.
No, obviously, bro, because now we're not forced to learn in Afrikaans, but we still do Afrikaans. But anyway, for me, I feel like the system that we were in, OBE, I think it was fine. I think it was fine, but I think they changed it because in first year there was such a high rate of failure. Because when we got to first year, it was like we spent 12 years doing nothing because whatever we learned didn't apply.
Only
So I think now they're trying to increase the number of varsity maybe the number of people that qualify for varsity, because then this CAPS thing, I can't even help my brother with his homework. It's just real. So it's probably, yes, it has improved, but I think they should have started with a brand new generation instead of stopping people in the middle of whatever they were doing. So they should have started with grade R of 20 whatever, whenever it was introduced, and then it must grow. Because if I did OBE and now you introducing CAPS, which is what happened, you're confusing the life out of me. Because everything I understood and I knew is now false, and I must start again. So it's easier to start when people are young and this is all they know and move up. But otherwise, I think the intention was.
I mean, we have more people getting, or let me say in terms of demographics, we have more people getting into varsity now than back then. And back then, I mean, your career choices were limited as a black person. You could have chosen to be a police person, police officer, a nurse, or a teacher. Those were like the top three.
If you're very lucky,
choices.
medicine.
Yeah,
the
that too.
Doctors, a lawyer, as if you're from a rich family. Very limited professions. But I mean, education in this country, the reason why they cut OB in the middle was because otherwise it would take 13 years to see if the system works. And then it's not one group after 13 years, it's all those groups. And then you must wait for them if you find out after the 13 years that the system doesn't work. You must wait for the people who started grade R in the year you found out that it doesn't work to go through the same system again, right? And they're lost. And then only save the grade R's after them. Do you understand?
But I feel like right now the system isn't working.
The system isn't working.
Isn't working.
The transitions never work in this kind of thing, because during the changing phase, right, those people who started with the old system are kind of screwed. Only those who start with the new system from scratch have a good chance, right? So if we say, okay, fine, every system is going to start with the grade R's, right? We're going to go through the whole cycle from grade R to matric. And then we're going to find out in matric when they go to varsity. That system doesn't work. But there's grade 11s behind them on that system. 10s, 9s, up till R, who are on the old system. And those R's, right, still have to go through until 12 with that same system, according to the way we do things, of introducing with the R. Only the R's after them will be okay. Now, who's disadvantaged? Everybody who's in the system now, except the grade R's, they get to start the new system immediately, right? And then, if we start a new system this year, the only people who are disadvantaged are like the matrics, all the people who are in the higher levels. They are slightly disadvantaged, but it's just about adapting. The most screwed are the matrics. I won't blame you. I won't disagree with that. Then the grade 11s, then the grade 10s. But from grade 9 on, there's a lot of things that you can still do to change your fortune when it comes to the system. And that's a way that doesn't disadvantage more people if the system doesn't work. If we find out this year the system doesn't work, we can get rid of it.
With what you're saying, I remember I think it was grade 11, my English teacher, her younger sister was taught to spell in phonetics. So now, to this day, my teacher was like in her late 40s then. So her sister was like somewhere around there. To this day, she still can't spell properly. Because for 1 year, she spelled in phonetics and it screwed up her life.
Yeah, but then...
But everybody after that is fine. So it might just be those people that are screwed up.
You see? And another thing with the education, with comparing two of the systems, there is no way that the previous education can win. Because the good education of the previous system that everybody's pining for was only given to 10% of the population. Okay, slightly more. About roughly 13 to 15% of the population got good education in the past. Now, that 10 to 15% of the population isn't getting bad education whilst the country's getting, it's not like they're getting bad. They're still getting good education. They are still getting good education, right? It's everybody else now who's getting slightly better education, which makes the average across the board look low, but it could have been worse. If you took the average across the whole country in 1960, you can't tell me it was that much higher than when you took the average now.
Okay. When you look at literacy, I mean, back then they were enthusiastic to read. Perhaps because reading in itself.
Those who had
was-
access were
was-
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And
then
also it
now,
was-
I mean, now we've got books all over the place.
Mhm.
Online, we've got books in our libraries, magazines and things. But then the generation the millennials still refuse to read when they get to school. I mean, we were in class with people who could not read.
I don't agree with the refuse though.
Yeah. You
My
can't say
brother- my
millennials
brother
refuse to
hates
read.
reading. Okay, maybe I'm looking at one person and thinking this is a whole generation, but like, it's rare to find some millennials who are enthusiastic about reading though.
Because there's other
Even
things
us,
to
I
be
don't
enthusiastic about.
Even us, I don't think there's people who like. I don't like reading.
We are
I
millennials,
like
by the way.
What do you
Everyone,
mean by
everyone in this
millennial?
place is a millennial.
Yeah, like
Millennial is
us.
anyone born after 1980.
Okay,
That's
I
the
don't
generation.
refuse to read. I just like reading other things, not books. Books, I get bored. So I'll read an article. I'll read journals. I won't read an entire book.
It's like a lot of people have said that like if we learn to read, books that are outside of our school syllabus, then it helps us when we read, our textbooks and things. So yeah.
But that was a time
That
when
has helped actually.
it does help, but that was a time when, okay, let me talk about a field I'm in engineering. 50 years ago, engineering was nothing like it is today. They told us when I started first year, they were like, we're training you for a job that doesn't exist yet. Right? We're training you for a job that doesn't exist yet. Right? The scope for engineering is so wide. Every year you can add a new textbook. Like
With
a
something
new
new,
textbook
yeah.
with something new. Okay, maybe not that much new
Yeah.
because you need to build from the old. But
Sure.
every year, and not like an update of previous edition. There's a brand new textbook that pops out of nowhere about every topic. There is so much to read now for school. If you're in school, that there is not enough time to read outside of the scope of your work.
Or you
There's
just
too
don't
much.
want.
Also, you just don't want. Why should I read when there's a movie that can tell me this whole story? I don't understand people who are like, no, children don't like reading. And then they are the ones who are pushing iPads, phones, cell phones with all this information. And all this information is a lot of information. Right? If every child had to receive their Facebook and Twitter in book form, we would have volumes of just text, reading, writing, back and forth. Is it constructive? Not always. Is it good? Compared to what?
Okay.
That's my 2 cents on the reading part.
Right.
The next aspect?
Standard of living.
This is, what the thing is with this topic, right? It's always going to come back to, it's stayed the same for a small percentage who had it really good, and it's improved slightly for the vast majority
Okay.
who had it terrible, but now it's okay for most. It's still pretty terrible for some.
But now we need to look at that picture that we saw. That the statement saying that it is a lot worse now than back then. Shit is bad.
I don't know.
That's what the picture's trying to say. So now what we're looking at is, can we really say that shit is a lot worse now?
Electricity, running water, flushable toilets. These are still things that a lot of the country don't have. But a lot more people have these things now than they did in the past.
Sure.
And the people who had them in the past didn't have them taken away. So why are they complaining?
Okay. Lady?
You done?
Yeah.
I would say right now the standard of living has decreased compared to apartheid. Because I was reading an article which says right now people earn less than they did in apartheid. Like some families don't have food or anything at all, but back then people did have food. People did have salaries and people. How can I put this? Back then, you knew that there was gonna be food at home or something like that. Not right now, everything is just gone down economically.
Okay.
I understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
But
What
now-
she's saying is back then, even though they paid you 5 cents, you knew that you have enough to buy bread and milk at home.
Okay.
Now you will still make less. Obviously, you won't make 5 cents because 5 cents doesn't exist. But even if you get that 6,000 rand per month, you know that all of it is going to rent, and now you need to hustle on the side for extra cash for transport, for my child's this and this. You cannot right now. You can't even have one job or one source of income.
Is that
the
because
level- and the level of
is this
poverty-
badness because apartheid ended? Was it apartheid is over, life got worse, or is it just happening to happen at the same time?
But guys, apartheid, now we can't just say apartheid. It will have to be leadership. Because if it's about leadership, then we can say yes because of it. Because then, even though things were bad, they made sure that people would afford this and this and that. Now, the leadership that we have doesn't care whether you can afford 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. They're still going to increase taxes regardless of the situation in the country.
No, I don't agree with you guys at all.
But
Because-
the poverty levels have increased from back then to now.
Have
People have are living in poverty now than they did back then.
We have to look at the stats for that, the actual stats.
You can, it will be quite depressing.
I
It would be
guess
quite
if we
depressing,
look at
actually.
the comparison in terms of the unemployment rate, remember back then being unemployed was illegal. You had to have some sort of a hustle if you want to stay out of jail and not run the risk of being killed for no reason or for being an unemployed gaffer. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, right now, I mean, if you're not employed, the government will still kind of give you like a bit of change, you know, to live. But then now with your 5 million kids behind you, it's a little difficult to support them on
If you look at it from
the
a
amount you get from government.
from a very broad perspective, standard of life. That's the thing with I did geography only on a high school level, but we did the whole social aspect of it, right?
Okay.
And the standard of life thing is a very hot topic because what you're trying to gauge here is not very, I forgot the terms now, you see English, last day of school. It's not something very tangible, you know? It's not like we're going outside and saying, okay, how many cows do we have in our shed? We have counted them, there are 10. You know, my standard of living criteria can be very different from yours. And we both feel like we're very right. You know, if you have ABC, you have a good standard of life. And therefore, you're okay, you know? And in this country right now, we are relatively, on average, for a common South African, not that bad. We're not great, but we're not that bad. You know, you have education for a vast majority of the country. Even people you can even go to school for free. Now, is
For free?
Yes, from grade 0 to matric at least, you can go to school for free. Now, those conditions aren't the best, and you have to work extra hard, much harder than the guy who's paying 250,000 per month,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever,
Yeah.
for your schooling, but you can get schooling, and you are relatively free to change your social standing in a legal way. If you work hard enough, that's the mantra. If you work hard enough and you are lucky enough, more lucky than anything. If you're lucky enough in this country, you can change your standing in society. You're relatively free in the society, right? That's a good standard of living, you know. You can't tell me you have a good standard of living because you know with 5 cents you're going to buy everything you want. You're not going to buy everything you want. You're going to buy what you need. And what you're going to be happy with it because, you know, you only get 5 cents, right? The problem with today's generation, I don't know why it's a problem with us, but it wasn't a problem with the previous generation and everybody else who did it because everybody did it. How did we get here if nobody did it? Is we want more, right? No one ever remembers wanting more. They just see you having what they didn't have, and then they say you're greedy because you want more. That is the only problem we have with like this generation thing. No, the youth want more. They're so greedy. Why can't they be happy with what they have? They have it better than we did, right? And the turn of the first century, the 21st century, made it so much worse because the turnover for new technology increased 1,000,000 times. You know, the space between the invention of the printing press and the light bulb, and the space between the invention of the light bulb and the iPhone, that is a very short time. So people are like, no, kids these days are spoiled, and things were better in apartheid, because in apartheid you had 5 cents and you could buy everything you need. Yeah, but you were living in a little box. You had to buy candles. You didn't pay for electricity. You had to walk everywhere. You couldn't even afford taxis. And when the taxis came, you still couldn't probably afford a taxi everywhere. It was only for really long distances.
Sure.
So you can't compare that to now having a car, having a nice apartment somewhere, and having electricity to pay, and having water to pay, and having a television, and having the things you need now, today, to have a normal standard of life are so much more than the things you needed 50 years ago.
Sure.
That you can't really say, okay, because you can afford everything you need on less money, then you are better off. You know, you couldn't walk anywhere you wanted if you were a certain person, right? And because of that, I can't say that was a good standard of living.
All right. Thoughts?
No.
I disagree with you. That's it.
How? Why?
I'm not gonna debate, but I honestly disagree with you.
But like you said, her criteria might not be the same as yours.
Yeah.
So
What is your
will
criteria for a good standard of living?
Okay, she's not gonna
Crickets.
debate.
I disagree with you. That's it.
Okay. My take on the standard of living, I think it has improved somewhat. We cannot really say, like you guys are talking about the unemployment rate and whatever. And the value of money now compared to the value of money then. I mean, 5 cents could get you quite a bit back then because the economy was somewhat how it was then.
Still
But
have
when
a
is
house
this?
and coin.
You have a half cent coin?
Yeah.
My mom has a 1 rand note.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So, okay. Anyway, moving on. Right now, I mean, we don't even have a 5 cent coin anymore. It's of no value in the cycle of money now. Like, it's just another coin you could keep. Hopefully, you're alive for the next 100 years and you can sell it. You know what I
That's
mean?
everywhere.
Hey?
That's everywhere.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's
that's
everywhere.
economics.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can really say that, but then also, now we can actually do more, we can get more now than we could then. I mean, imagine right now you have to walk around with your ID everywhere you go, and if you bump into a police officer on the road and you either refuse to show him your ID or you just don't have it, it's a problem. Now.
This reminds me of a place in Pretoria right now. But yeah, moving on.
You know what I mean? I mean, if we look at the standard of living in terms of freedom, like social freedom now, dude, I feel like we are so much better off than we were back then. Now we can even socialize with white people without thinking, but now boss is gonna get mad, or somebody's gonna get mad, and I'm gonna get arrested. Thinking you guys get me in trouble.
You can
No,
fraternize.
because it's not like that anymore. I think we're a lot better off now than we were then.
You can adopt a different race baby.
Right. Of course, like they will ask you a lot of questions. I feel like it's unfair though.
Why?
That process, the adoption process.
Adoption
like
process
it's so
is very
much. It's so much easier for a white person to adopt a black child, but then a lot more
Due to the nature of
insight
society,
into your life as a black family
is needed.
is needed for you to be allowed to adopt a child of a different race.
But due to the nature of society, it's so much harder for a black person to do anything
Well,
than a white person.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I guess socially, have we also talked about? We touched on it socially, and how things have changed socially.
Socially, things have changed, but the attitudes of a lot of people haven't, on both sides of the fence this time. A lot of black people still harbor a lot of emotions and
And it's
resentment.
passed down.
And it's passed down generationally, so there's no, guys should get over it by now. Stop saying this, it's not nice, it's not true, it's not fair. Also, at the same time, we should get over this thing of white people are so great, they are just people.
All that's white ain't always right, and all that's black ain't always bad.
Yes, this is true. People are so complex, and the problem comes from the fact that both groups of people didn't see the other people as just people. You look at yourself and you're like, just a person. And for some, always in an oppressive situation like that, the oppressor is seen by the oppressed as something above, and the oppressor sees the oppressed as something beneath, which is the dynamic you always get. That's why when you're a black person and you meet a white person, for you to entertain, to to reach a level of equality, right? There's always this initial little thing socially where you, as a black person, must gain the approval of the white person, and then once they approve of you, then you guys can be friends. You know, you must first prove yourself to be a better black. You know, only when you are a better black, above what you just are, can you hang out with me. And why? You know, so white people should get off their high horse, get over themselves. They're just people. Black people should get over white people. You know, stop this inferiority complex. They're just people.
Yeah.
You know? Once we do that, once you see another person and you're like, wow, that's a person, and they're struggling with the same crap and same bullshit I'm struggling with, then we can take a better step in the future. But if you keep thinking, less than me, or better than me, I must, you know, shun them, then that's not going to help them.
I remember, like, one of my white friends, I won't mention her name because she loves listening to, like, the podcast. I remember her one day. Excuse me? No, she's not the only one. You see, that's the problem.
She's not the only
She's
one.
not the only one, so please.
Collection.
Okay. So
Everybody
she would,
take it personally.
she would always say, you know, Lee, I feel like you are like so different from other black people. Like all the time, you're just so different. Like you get me. Like you get me. And I'm like, but now what does that mean? I don't understand what that means.
You know what?
Are you asking us this question?
No,
or did you
I'm
ask
not.
her that question?
I asked her that question. I was like, what does that mean? Like I'm confused when you
You know what you
say
should
things
say
like
when
that.
they say that? Oh, you're different from other white people.
Yeah,
That
she
will,
would-
you
she
should
would-
ask the same question. You should ask the
Yeah.
question, what do you mean by that? I'm like,
She'd start, you know,
what do you
asking
mean?
herself questions
What
as
did
well.
she say?
And she says, no, I can't really say, but then you get me, right? Like you understand what I'm trying to say, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. That's why I'm asking you to explain what you meant by that. But then to some degree, I was like, okay, it goes back to the whole better black thing. I think that is pretty much where she was coming from. She just didn't really want to say it because, you know, she's not trying to offend her friend or anything.
But
I
I
could
think
just
that's
be
how
the
it-
only black friend she's
I
got.
think that's how it is with friends in general. You become friends with people you get. But because they're of a different race, it's
you
like,
didn't expect to get them.
yes, then it becomes a thing, I think.
I feel like we're different anyway.
Huh?
I go to a white church. You could say it's a white church. It's predominantly white. I don't get them. I don't get the conversations they have. I don't get the jokes that they laugh at.
The culture is different.
It's
Yeah.
very different. So maybe by that she meant, oh, you fit in with,
But I don't.
for
No.
her.
Maybe for her, I
compared
suppose,
to-
yeah.
Let's say if she were to
No,
sit
but then
with
the
me,
question
I
always
would
becomes,
just
why
think,
is this black person different from the rest of the black people? And that's okay, but it can't be that I'm different from the other white people,
That's weird.
and that's weird. You know?
No, it is offensive.
If you have to look at which perspective this question is being asked.
No, it is offensive. But
Oh, and you
I
speak
don't
so
think-
well. You speak so well.
Oh,
it's
I
terrible.
hate
I
that
was
shit.
gonna say
I hate
your
that
accent must have gotten her as well.
I really hate it when people say that. Even
Because
strangers, complete
You
strangers.
speak so well, hurts you as the person receiving this compliment in inverted commas from both parties, because you know other black people are like, now you talk like them. Don't hang with us.
Actually, my cousin said that to me once.
You think you're so much better than us speaking this English of yours. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not my
Oh, I've
English,
been
but I
called-
speak it.
And who
I've
said
been
black
called a coconut so many times.
No,
It
but
doesn't
who
even
said black
offend me
people
anymore.
cannot have an accent generally that is not broken English?
They say it's just not black, bruh.
What's black?
That's
is black?
a great question. I don't know.
Comrade.
What's
No.
black? No, but then that becomes a South African black person because a person from Uganda will not have that accent. And then when you come with that accent, it's like, but then what's going on?
What's happening?
And that's a black accent.
Like,
So that-
I'd say you will.
my God, is good.
But yeah, they like picking on the accent thing.
Okay. We've pretty much done everything in like 10 minutes less than normal time. Okay, let me throw a question. Would you rather be living the way life is now or in apartheid?
What do you
Just
mean?
for
I'm going to need you to clarify.
fun. Look at life then,
Wait,
in
so
all respects.
I go to
Look at
apartheid and live in apartheid time.
Yeah, let's say you were,
Nah,
let's say if you were a black or a white person, then black or white person now.
honestly speaking, I would be a white person then.
Okay.
I'd be a white person now. But it doesn't mean I want to be a white person right now.
No, I get
In
that.
that scenario.
No.
Because if you think about it, white people have
Privilege.
they-
Just say it.
no, I don't want to say privilege because that's not what I mean.
Because that is what it is. Privilege.
The P word, né? There's and then they're looked at as more. Whatever it is, they looked at as more. So then even it was worse. So then born on PlayStation, wire, and whatever you want. And then now, like, starting in life in jail is easier, I feel, as a white person.
Is an easy life really a better life or happier?
Whoa. Can we just
No,
segue?
I'm sorry. I'm just.
No,
yeah.
I just want to say this, guys. There's this people life saying this thing. You know, challenges make you strong. You know, hardships make you strong. You should go through hardships. You should suffer. You're
You
only
should fight in
saying
relationships.
you should fight. You should struggle.
Who says we should fight?
Guys, an easy life is the best. It's the best.
You don't need
You are
drugs.
consoling yourselves because your lives are shit. That is the only thing that is happening.
Exactly.
Don't console. Just accept in your heart that you want it easy,
Yes.
but it's hard, so you're just gonna be strong.
Yes.
You know,
There is no other
that's
way.
fine. Don't tell me.
There is no other way.
When my life is easy, you mustn't say, "Oh, then you're not gonna have a better life." I'm gonna have a no. My life is already
Flourishing.
great. I'm flourishing. Let me flourish.
Yes.
You know, no. You must go through hardships. It must make you stronger. If I never go through hardships, then I don't need to be strong. What am I being strong for? Who am I trying to impress? My life is nice, guys. Okay, it's not really. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm just saying. Okay, back on topic.
Black or white person then, black or white person now.
Can Rinzani go last?
Okay,
Yes.
no, actually, yes. Yeah, hold that
feel like this
thought. Hold
will
that
take
thought. Black or white person then, black or white person now.
I agree with him to a certain point. Like I would want to be a white person back then, and want to be a white person right now because of how privilege actually. Like you get through life easier if you're white than you are black because you have to work twice as hard. I feel like if you're black,
Okay.
then you're white. Like I just work up there on white.
Bruh, no one's ever gonna come to you and say, "Do you work here?" Because
Exactly.
you're wearing a black t-shirt.
Exactly.
And a
I
place
get
where
that a
other
lot.
people wear black t-shirts.
From work, actually.
Do you work here?
I've
Do
never
you work here? In a
I've
shop.
gotten that actually.
I'm that one person whose face cannot hide her thoughts. The minute you piss me off or you say something offensive, my face will show it before I calm down. Like, it's so annoying hearing questions like that.
Or you go to a shop and you want to buy and you stand
Yes.
there and no one gives you attention
and you
because
saying sorry will help. No, you already offended me.
I'm thinking I'm holding a handbag. Why would I be holding my handbag at work? Please ask me. Please.
Did you ask them that?
No, I just
Why
thought about
not?
that. I'm like, no.
No,
Thing
that's
is, I
your
don't
fault.
like to entertain these things in public spaces.
Yeah,
like
I
to
get
say
it.
things
It doesn't
like
help.
to say things like, no, I don't work here. Why would you ask me that question?
No. Don't make
No.
it a fight. Be like, what makes you think I work here?
No, but
But
you see,
with
they
a
could
smile.
get defensive with that shit.
Yeah, you
and
get
then
defensive,
eventually
yeah.
it starts a
no,
thing now.
what
Then
makes you
it's
think I
fine.
work here?
Then it's fine. It's a
I
thing.
think it's a valid question.
It's a very valid question. Excuse
you
me.
can change.
Do you work
As
here?
much as it's a
What
valid
makes you
question,
think
there are
I
some
work
people
here?
who might not see it as a valid question. You could have just said no and left it.
And left it.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
Because some people
I
get
would
touched
say,
easily.
no. Why do I work here?
Exactly.
You must have anger in your life.
I
You must
don't
be
think I
bottled up.
can. I'm
They
sorry.
should correct
I
these
can't.
things. But you're asking them, they shouldn't go around assuming that someone wearing black and white or black only is working there. And you're black on top of that.
I think it's
You're
more
black,
offensive.
you're black, and you have to work here.
I don't know. Nikki?
No, I'm a black person, then black person.
Why?
Because I love being black. I do not want to be white.
Amanda.
Even if it means privilege, it's
Amanda.
fine. I'll have the thing about being black is once you get the money, the privilege comes with it. Because I'm telling you, they are
Hold
so
your
are
horses.
white. There are black people who are allowed into the white circle because of their bank statement, simply because of their bank statement. And I don't like. I'm gonna sound racist, and I'm not.
Just try to filter
But
it.
I don't like, no, I'm not like that. But I don't understand their culture. I don't like it. It looks like they are in denial 24/7. Everything is just denial. If it's raining, no dear, it's just, no, it's raining. Like if it's coming down hard, it's not just a little, you know, everything is just, it has to be better than what they're just in denial and it's frustrating and I don't get their jokes. Guys, I went through a tough life where I had to pretend like I got the joke and I don't. But you do get really cool white people, but I don't want to fit
So
in that
it's
world.
a culture thing.
But now you
It's
must.
a culture thing. And I don't want to be hated by black people. That's also like they
They make life difficult when they don't like you,
privilege
right?
or no privilege. Having black people on my butt every day because of the skin cut, I'll bleach even.
No, I'm not even gonna lie. Like black people tend to make life pretty difficult if you're not within. Like it's.
Even though you're not a racist white person, you have to live in fear because black people are not gonna ask you, "Are you racist?" Like, never. They'll reject you. Period.
Yeah, they'll just assume that you're racist.
Yeah,
Rizani, you can go.
Yeah.
Rizani, you may.
Five
I'm not
whole
answering this
5
question because
whole
I asked it.
minutes.
So.
5 whole minutes for you.
For you.
You had
Go.
4 minutes.
What if I don't want to say
Go.
anything? What if I'm
Then it's fine.
Then it's okay. We say 5 minutes.
It's all right.
5 whole minutes.
I don't know. I would not ever want to go back, black or white, because internet. But,
Okay.
but
Okay.
let's be honest. There is no reason to go back, black or white, right? There really isn't. Technology was terrible.
No, but it's not terrible if you're born into it.
It just
Yeah,
wasn't
It's
there.
just
though.
technology.
It's just now, but now I know what I know. So
No, but I get. Oh,
now I know.
are we going back knowing what we know?
No,
No.
when you go back, you don't know what you know.
All that you know is life now and life then.
Yeah, I know what you're asking.
She's
man.
asking if you were
But
there.
I'm gonna answer this question knowing what I know.
No, we don't want that.
So now I must pretend I don't know what I know.
What should be
Yes.
special though? I mean,
When you
No,
were
but
there.
I don't want to go back. But if I
no,
have to
it's-
go back,
if
I'll
you
go
don't
back
wanna
as a
go
white
back, it's
person.
fine.
Why as a white
Like,
person?
okay.
If I have to
Why
go
as a
back,
white
if I'm
person?
forced to, I have this privilege, guys.
Okay.
You're gonna go back to the 1800s. Are you gonna be a
Struggling.
colonizer or a colonist? Are you gonna be a colonizer or a colonist? Are you gonna be a slave or a slaver? Where how are you gonna come back? You always go back.
From digging all day. I'm there every day. I'm there every day.
I'm sorry.
You're up
I'm
here.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm there.
And then you have a child and they can take it and sell
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No,
They sell
I'm
your
sorry.
No, but we weren't going
And if your
back
children-
there. We were in apartheid.
No, I'm
But
saying
apartheid goes.
my
As
example.
far as
No,
I'm just saying, guys.
Wanna change your answer now?
Any-
I wasn't alive then.
Any situation where you ask someone, would you rather go back to a time where there's an oppressor and oppressed, as the oppressor or the oppressed?
That should have been the question.
You're gonna pick to go back as the oppressor because that's just common sense. No one wants to live. No one wants to live the uncomfortable life, and that's where have you noticed something strange about the world? Oppressed people often have a very rich culture, right? Like we're seeing now with the racial thing, right? African Americans have a very rich culture. Africans have a very rich culture. The reason why we think it's rich is because it's not explored as much because you're trying to push these people down. And when the little glimpses of it that are nice come out, they look new and, different.
Exciting.
Whereas the oppressor's culture is the culture of the day. It's standard, it's normal, it's mundane, it's ordinary, Ballet used to be something spectacular they did. Now you see ballet everywhere. It's all over, it's in your face. So there's this thing of the oppressor now tending to envy the oppressed culture because it's so rare and new and different. And that thing, where was I going with this?
you were going along the lines of what you know right now.
Yes, and that thing is the only thing that would probably make me want to be a black person back in apartheid.
Okay.
Because of the culture, because of the sort of the there's this thing that I like to say. I got it from a show, but it sounded so cool. The 2 Chinese curses. May you live in interesting times, and may you get everything you want, right? And may you live in interesting time is a curse, because what is more interesting than war? Plague, suffering. The best stories, the best movies, the best songs are made in times of pain, and that would have been a very interesting time to live. Other than that, no one wants a hard life. We all just pretend to.
want this, shimmin'
You had to
shandas.
take it somewhere else. I was gonna exit so nicely
Oh,
after
okay,
that.
sorry.
It's fine. Bye, guys.
Hey man, anger. Always.